So today being we decided that we'll discuss some of the pastimes of Ram in summary. To go in detail, maybe after Bhagavatam is over, we'll take up. So Lord Ram, as we know, he appeared in Treta Yuga. So Treta Yuga is 12,96,000 years long. Before that, Satyuga, which is 17,98,000. And Kali-yuga is 4,00,000. Some people, however, say, oh, there's no cycle. Plan to find not in the scriptures, though. So scriptures talk about these many years. So, and Lord Ram, he performs his pastimes in every Veda Yuga. So the current, the last pastime of Ram, that happened, so 8,64,000 years of Dwapar Yuga and 12,96,000 of Treta Yuga. So probably during maybe the beginning of Treta Yuga. So it's at least like 20 lakh years. Start by in front of 20 lakh years. So about 20 lakh years. I mean, his pastimes are always eternal, but for 20 lakh years, people been chanting his pastimes, glorifying his pastimes, and studying his pastimes, and chanting his name, and getting purified. Can you all hear me? I know Anjali Mata.
It's not clear, Prabhuji, today.
Is it better?
Yes, Prabhuji, now
No.
better.
Is it better?
Yeah, Prabhuji. Well,
Okay, great. So 20 lakh years ago, he performed his pastimes. And I mean, we cannot even imagine any person famous after even maybe 200 years of his leaving the body. But Lord Ram, because he is the Supreme Lord, his pastimes are eternal and so sweet, his pastimes. He came as Maryada Purushottam Ram. Krishna is Purna Purushottam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Prem Purushottam. But Bhagwan Ram, he is Maryada Purushottam, means he performed his pastimes as a Nar Leela he performed, as a human being, as an ordinary human being. But ordinary human being following the rules of a Kshatriya king. Even in Treta Yuga, when people or Kshatriyas would have many wives, he had the He had taken the vow of only one wife, accepting only one wife, Sita, to set an example how one can live in Maryada. So his pastimes are also very sweet, very dear to people because people can follow his pastimes, follow his example in their life. Krishna's example, one cannot follow. Krishna performed so many wonderful pastimes, killing so many demons, lifting Govardhan, dancing on Kalia, and swallowing forest fire, marrying 16,108 queens. Well, who can follow his pastimes? For Krishna, with Krishna, his instructions as Bhagavad Gita are more important. We try to study and get attracted to his pastimes, but we cannot follow him. But Ram, people can follow, and they have been following, and to whatever extent. Obviously, we cannot go and kill the demons like Ravan and other Rakshasas he killed. But there are certain things we can follow. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's his instructions. Again, we can try to follow chanting, but not his example. Very difficult. So this is why Ram's pastimes, Ram Leela is very, very important. I remember when we were little, this time or in winter time when Dashara is supposed to be there, we used to have this Pandal programs, and we used to go and watch Ram Leela in Pandal. And every year, same Leela. And on Dashara, it would culminate in burning of the effigies of Ravan, Kumbhakaran, and Meghnad. Just enjoy. Now it has all completely stopped. Maybe in villages still happen. It is completely stopped now with internet and TV. But these are the past. That's how Ram's pastimes. Very, very dear to me. And I remember in our college days when this Ramayana was telecast on TV, we would not even have our classes. And I know it used to come on Sundays. So once I remember, we were in college, and on Sunday, because of something happened over the week, and one exam was scheduled on Sunday. And all the students, we all went to the teacher, sir, that is the time for Ramayana. Please move the exam, prepone it or postpone it today. Not on that day. And he agreed. Yeah, he said, yeah, I don't want to miss Ramayana either. This is the power of Ram. And his pastimes are so sweet, very, very dear to everybody. So in Ayodhya, King Dashrath was there. He had 3 queens, but he did not have a son. He had a daughter. Her name was Shanta, who was being brought up by another friend of him, Ram Katha. And because Ram Katha didn't have any offspring, so he requested Dashrath Maharaj to give him his daughter. So Dashrath very happily did that. But even here, Dashrath didn't even have a son, and he was very lamenting that how, if I leave my body, this is my debt to my ancestors, and if I don't leave this kingdom in the right hands of the right heir, then it'll be bad name. It'll bring bad name to me. So somehow he was told that to do this Putra Kameshti Yagya. So to have a son. But the special condition of that Kameshti Yagya, Putra Kameshti Yagya, was to the priest would be a person, a Brahman, who has no touch. He had never even heard of a woman before. He had never came in contact with a woman. So Vasishtha Muni, he was the guru of Dashat Maharaj. And Dashat Maharaj, how can we find a person like this, Brahman like this? At least he would have been in contact with his mother. How come no woman rule? But Vasishtha Muni said, well, if the rule is there must be some arrangement. So then they found out there was a Rishi, Shringa. Again, long story of Shringa, how come he didn't have any contact with women. But then this Ramapad Maharaj, his kingdom was going through a terrible drought for many, many years. No crops, nothing. So for his kingdom also, somehow he got Shringa out of his ashram in his kingdom. And as soon as he stepped on the land of kingdom of Ramapad Maharaj, the rain started pouring on his kingdom. Didn't do any yagya, just he stepped. He was so pure. And Ramapad Maharaj, what he did, he said, okay, somehow he talked him into marrying Shanta. So now he is husband of Shanta. And Ramapad Maharaj gave him half of his kingdom. And then, because of Dasharatha Maharaj's request, Rishi Shringa came to the kingdom of Ayodhya and he performed this Putra Kameshti Yagya. And with that Yagya, demigods were pleased that they brought this pot of sweet rice and Dasharatha gave to his queens, Kaushalya, Sumantra, and Kaikeyi. So Kaushalya got one part, Kaikeyi got one part, and Sumitra got two parts. So Kaushalya gave birth to Ram, Sumitra to Lakshman and Shatrughna, Kaikeyi gave birth to Bharat. And 4 boys. Dasharatha Maharaj was very, very happy. And these boys were was like the apple of his eyes. He would never even leave them. And especially Ram. Ram was very, very dear to Dasharatha Maharaj. So they were growing up. They were getting trained in the weapons, handling of weapons. And also they were growing up and Dasharatha Maharaj was pleased. And one day, Vishwamitra Muni came. Now Vishwamitra Muni came and Dasharatha Maharaj, he was very much afraid of Vishwamitra Muni that he gets angry at little bitty thing and he will curse. So he went bare feet running to the front gate and welcomed the Rishi, brought him inside and gave him warm welcome. Rishi said, I don't want all this. Just give me a promise, you will fulfill my desire. Okay, whatever your desire. Give me your son Ram. I have a special engagement for him. First, Dasharatha Maharaj was like, why do you want to take Ram? Ram is like everything for me. My life and soul is Ram. And then he asked, what is the purpose? And Vishwamitra Muni said, well, there are some Rakshasas who are always troubling me, troubling my yagya. I want Ram to come and kill them. And Dasharatha was like, Ram doesn't even know proper arrow hand, bow and arrow. He's not trained properly yet. I'll come with you. I'll have my army and we'll protect your yagyas. Vishwamitra Muni said, if I want, even I can kill all those Rakshasas. I don't want you, I want Ram. Now Dasharatha Maharaj, how can I let Ram go? He asked Vasishtha Muni. Vasishtha Muni said, well, Vishwamitra is a very powerful Brahman. He's a Brahma Rishi. I have had some issues with him, but I know he's very powerful. So don't say no. Let go. So finally, Dashrath Maharaj agreed. But Lakshman said, well, I'm coming with Ram. I'm not going to leave Ram. Vishwamitra said, yeah, that's okay. So three of them left Ayodhya walking all the way to where Vishwamitra Muni was doing yajna. So that place was very miserable because of all these Rakshasas. They were always attacking these yajna-shala. So whenever Vishwamitra Muni would start a yajna, these Rakshas would come and throw stool and urine in the yajna and or throw some dead bodies, and they just ruin the yajna. So it's not that these things happen now. Yajna means any type of yajna. So, and anybody who tries to stop the yajna means for pleasure of Lord Vishnu whenever we perform any activity. For Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, do Sankirtan yajna. So even that yajna is many times stopped or disturbed. But anyway, we are not supposed to kill them. So we carry on with somehow or other. But that time, Vishwamitra Muni wanted to get rid of the Rakshasa. And especially when Dashrath Maharaj asked, who are these Rakshas? Who are we talking about? And Vishwamitra Muni said, oh, this is Tadka and Marich and Subahu. They are the associates of Ravan. And Dashrath, when he heard Ravan was the biggest terrorist of that time, of the whole universe. He had terrorized the whole universe. And in fact, one of the ancestors of Dashrath Maharaj was killed ruthlessly by Ravan. In fact, when he was killed, Maharaj, if I'm not wrong, Maharaj Aja, he cursed Ravan that one of my descendants will be the cause of your death. He'll kill you. And Ravan didn't bother. He just laughed and just killed Aja, and he just went on his way. So, but Vishwamitra Muni, he could not say no to. So Ram and Lakshman and Vishwamitra Muni, they went. And on the way, Vishwamitra Muni taught them many mantras, many ways to handle weapons. So they were getting their learnings also on the way. So when they reached the Yajna-shala, and Ram and Lakshman said to Vishwamitra Muni, okay, you start your yajna and we'll protect. So Vishwamitra Muni started the yajna, and at that same time, and all these Rakshasas were coming. So first came Tadka, and Ram, with one arrow only, some places say he didn't even take up an arrow on Tadka. He just picked up a kusha grass and threw at Tadka. Of course, he was sorry that first demon he had to kill was a woman. Women are not supposed to be killed, but what to do in this case? He had to protect Vishwamitra Muni's Yajna-shala. So he just picked up kusha grass and threw at Tadka, and Tadka just died. And then came Marich and Subahu. So Marich, they attacked, and Ram and Lakshman just killed Subahu with the arrow, and Marich, Ram shot an arrow at him, and he went 100 yojans, so 800 miles away, fell in the ocean. And so far away, and Marich, from that day on, he even if he hear the name Ra, not even Ram, Ra, he would just get so scared. And he said, never, ever, I'm going to go leave this place. He made an ashram and he started living there. Because that arrow was so powerful that he just fell so far away in the ocean. Anyway, so Ram took care of all the Rakshasas and the Yajnas would go on then without any problem. From there, Vishwamitra Muni said, well, I'm very happy you have performed this killing of these Rakshasas. But now there is one more appointment for you, engagement for you. So we have to go to Mithila. So on the way to Mithila, they start by at Gautam Rishi's ashram, and there was a stone, and Lord Ram asked the story of this stone, and that was Ahilya. So Vishwamitra told him the story of how come Ahilya became that stone. And Ahilya was the wife of Gautam Rishi. Gautam Rishi, as usual, is a Rishi. They will live in a hermitage. And Ahilya was very, very beautiful lady. But somehow Indra got attracted to Ahilya. And one day, Gautam Rishi was out to take bath in the river. Indra came, took the form of Gautam Rishi, and he came to the ashram, to the room of Ahilya. And Ahilya thought Gautam Rishi had come back. And she was surprised he came back so soon. But Indra came to have that union with Ahilya. And he had that union with Ahilya in the form of Gautam Rishi. But Ahilya at that time understood, he's not my husband, he's somebody else. But they had the union, and Gautam Rishi came back, so Indra left that place. But when Indra was coming out of the ashram, he was still in the form of Gautam Rishi. And Gautam Rishi saw another Gautam Rishi coming out. And he was like, what is this going on? So he, with his tapabal, he understood this is Indra. And he understood what had happened. So Gautam Rishi cursed Indra that may you're so lusty, may you develop 1,000 women genitals all over your body. And all of a sudden it happened. Gautam Rishi's curse. And Indra fell down at his feet. Oh, I'm the king of the demigod with 1,000 genitals all over my body. Or what is it? It doesn't look good. Please remove this curse. Gautam Rishi said, well, I cannot remove, but I can change. So he converted it into 1,000 eyes all over his body. That's why he has eyes, 1,000 eyes all over. But then Gautam Rishi cursed Ahilya that you're not chaste. You're supposed to be chaste. You knew if it was Indra, but you still enjoyed that union. So you become a stone, a rock. Ahilya fell down at his feet and asked for forgiveness. So Gautam Rishi said, because that was at the time in Satyuga, this is what happened. He said, in Treta Yuga, Ram is going to come, and when he touches you by his lotus feet, you will become women again. So this is why I'm saying all these yugas, because the right sequence of yugas is Satyuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga. Dwapar means second, 2. Treta means 3. But Ahilya said, oh, Treta Yuga is far away because this all was happening in Satyuga. And there is whole Dwapar Yuga in the middle. You want me to remain stone for the whole Dwapar Yuga? Then by his powers, Gautam Rishi changed the sequence. So after Satyuga came Treta Yuga. That is one of the reasons. There is another reason in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, but this is one of the reasons the sequence got changed. So anyway, Lord Ram came and Vishwamitra told him that by your touch of your lotus foot, she will become woman again. And Lord Ram, he was hesitant to touch this Brahmani with his foot, so he's a Kshatriya, but there was no other option. So he touched with his foot, and she became Ahilya again, and she fell down at his feet. And then he carried on, and she went back to Gautam Rishi. So they came to Mithila, all three of them, and big yagya was, big arrangement was there. Dhanush, Dhanush yagya was going on, and so Swayamvar of Sita ji was to happen. And what was the deal was, whoever can pick up this Dhanush, Shiva Dhanush, and string it, that person can marry Sita. So Sita also, obviously not an ordinary lady, she's Lakshmi ji herself. And the way she was born, Maharaj Janak also didn't have a child, and he was plowing the field, and the rishis told him to plow the field himself, and with this hull, which is called, the tip of that hull is called seat. So that hull, the tip of the hull got stuck in the ground, and Janak Maharaj thought maybe it's some rock, big rock. But when he just dug up, it was a golden casket inside the earth. And when they opened, beautiful little girl was there, effulgent girl. And because she was found by the seat, by the tip of that hull, she was named Sita. Also, she was named Janaki because daughter of Janak Maharaj, and so many names. And she was growing up and in the palace. And one day she came to this room where this big bow was there, and she just playfully, she was little, maybe 3, 4, 5 years old girl. She just came in the room, and huge bow. This is a huge bow of Lord Shiva. It was so big and so heavy that it would take 300 fully grown, powerful soldiers to even move it an inch, to put it on the vehicle, and to move it. It would take them 300 soldiers to move it, and that on a cart. And Sita, little girl Sita, she went inside that room and she just picked up the bow. People, when they saw, they came running to Janak Maharaj, gave him the news, and he was like, you guys are not telling me the truth. Something else is going on. How can Sita lift that bow? 300 soldiers, even they cannot lift. But they all came inside that room, and Sita was playing with that bow. And then Brahmans told Janak Maharaj, well, this is not an ordinary girl, so Lakshmi ji herself. So don't worry, if Lakshmi ji is here, Narayan will come to marry her, to take her away. So make this arrangement when she grows up, that whoever can pick up this bow and string it, that's the person my daughter will marry. So Ram and Lakshman came, and so many kings were there. In fact, Ravan also came to try to lift that bow. So many stories. So basically, they could be in different time, different past and takes place differently. So as we had heard in when we were little, that Ravan came, but then before he could lift that bow, there was demigods made an announcement, "Oh Ravan, your Lanka is on fire. Go save it." So Ravan just left. And another place we have heard that Ravan lifted that bow. But then Lord Shiva thought, he's not the one who's going to marry Sita. So Shivji, with the whole weight of Kailash and everybody, he entered that bow and pressed it down. So Ravan had lifted, but his hand again got stuck, and he could not take out his hand. So he prayed to Lord Shiva. And with those prayers, he was somehow take his hand out, but he could not lift it properly. But when Lord Ram came, Lord Ram first paid obeisances to that bow, paid obeisance respects to Lord Shiva also. But then with one hand, he just picked up that bow. And other hand, he took the string and he put the string from one corner, he tied it up, the other corner, he strung it and he pulled and pulled, and the bow became like a half circle. And he was still stringing, and all of a sudden the bow broke. And it made a tumultuous sound. The sound went all over the universe that somebody has broken Lord Shiva's bow. So according to the rule, then Sita was married to Lord Ram. And before she was married, the news was sent to Janak Maharaj that this is going to happen on this day. For the marriage, please come. So he went with Bharat and Shatrughna also. And there were 3 more cousin sisters of Sita. So Ram married Sita, Lakshman married Urmila, and I know Shatrughna married Shrutkirti, and Bharat married, I'm forgetting her name somehow. It's there at the tip of my tongue, it was not coming out. Mandvi, Bharat married Mandvi, yeah. So Janak Maharaj was very happy. Now all the 4 boys are married, wonderful daughter-in-laws he got, and they were all coming back. And because of this bow that was broken, the news went all over the universe. And who came? Parshuram. So Lord Parshuram came, and he was like, who in the world can break this bow of Shiva? And he was carrying his bow and axe. And Ram very politely, very humbly said, well, I'm the one who broke that bow. But Parshuram was angry. And now Parshuram is also in Shaktavesh avatar, or an incarnation of Krishna. And Lakshmanji is the original Balram or Anandshesh, and from him comes all the incarnations. And so he was like, how can you challenge Ram? Yes, the bow was there and he took it, picked it up, it broke, so what big deal? And Parshuram was getting angry, Lakshmana was getting angry at him, and Ram just calmed them down. Okay, yes, I broke it. What's the deal? Parshuram said, I don't believe it. I have this bow. This is Vishnu bow. Vishnu Dhanush. Try to string this one. And Lord Ram, very easily, he just strung that bow and put an arrow on it. And Parshuram was, how could you do that? You must be the Supreme Personality of God. You are the real Ram. I'm just a namesake Ram. So Lord Ram said, well, now I have the arrow on the bow, and my arrow cannot go in vain. I have to shoot at something, somebody. Tell me, where should I shoot my arrow? So Parshuramji said, well, you shoot it at my strength. Take all my strength from me and kill all the Rakshasas for what you have come. Now I have realized you are the real Ram. So Parshuramji said, I'm going to take a rest from now because you are here. I have killed the Kshatriyas many, many times, but now I need to take rest and go for my meditation. So you do the killing part. So that's when Ram got this arrow and the bow, and he shot at Parshuram. He got all his strength. And Parshuramji went to the Mandar mountain to perform his austerities. So Ram came back to Ayodhya with everybody. Everybody was happy. And then we know the story of Manthara, how how she tricked Kaikeyi into asking for two boons from Dashrath. And actually, Mother Kaikeyi, was very, very dear to Ram, and Ram was very dear to Mother Kaikeyi. But it was all planned by Ram, and that Ram had to go out and kill all these Rakshasas. So Kaikeyi agreed that, okay, I'll take the blame and you go out. You perform your best. So Kaikeyi took the blame of asking for two boons of Bharat getting the kingdom and Ram getting 14 years of exile. Ram very happily went for it. He agreed to it. And Sita came to know about the exile part, and Sita came running. Ram actually went to Kaushalya's palace to ask for permission. Sita came to know. Sita came running. She was like, I'm going to go with you, Ram. Ram said, no, you cannot come to the forest. Forest is a very dangerous place. You cannot survive. There's so many tribulations. Sita said, no. When my father gave my hand in your hand, it was like, I will always be with you. If I'm in the forest with you, that will be as good as heaven for me. And if I remain in the palace without you, this will be as good as hell for me. I'm not going to go through this. So Ram was, yes, I always wanted you to come with me, but I just wanted to test you. And then Lakshman heard. Lakshman came. There was some discussion possible with Sita. With Lakshman, no discussion was possible. Lakshman said, I'm coming with you. That's it. There's no discussion. End of discussions. And Urmila came. See, there's so many stories. It's very difficult. It's almost impossible to cover everything in one class. Urmila came. And Lakshman told her. Urmila wanted to come with Lakshman. Lakshman told her, no, I'm going to be their servant. I'll be serving them. I won't be able to take care of you. You remain here and take care of my mother, Kaushalya and Sumitra, both of them. And it is said that Lakshmanji did not sleep a wink for 14 years. And he did not even eat anything for 14 years. He was always on the guard at night time, and in the daytime, he was always serving Ram. But here, Urmila also did not sleep for 14 years. Because I'm just going to fast forward. When Hanumanji went to bring Sanjeevani Booty, and Lakshmanji was struck with the arrows of Indrajit, and he was unconscious. Hanumanji went to get Sanjeevani Booty. On the way back, because Hanumanji could not recognize which one is Sanjeevani Booty, because all the booty, all the herbs, they were glowing. So he just picked up the whole mountain, Himalaya. He said, okay, I'll take the whole mountain, let the Vaidya figure out which Sanjeevani Booty he wants. So when he was coming back, he was carrying Himalaya on his hand, and he was flying because there was not a whole lot of time left. He had to get back before the sunrise. Bharat Maharaj, he was at Nandigram, just outskirts of Ayodhya. So he saw, his soldiers came running, or there's a monkey flying with a whole hill on his head, and he might attack Ayodhya. He could be any demon. So Bharat Maharaj shot an arrow at Hanumanji. Hanumanji fell down. And when he fell down, he said, oh, Ram. Bharat was surprised. Who is this devotee of Ram? So when he fell down, Bharat Maharaj went to him. What happened? Who are you? What is happening? And Hanumanji said, I don't have time, but all I have to say is, Lakshman, there's a war going on between Ram and Ravan. Sita is kidnapped, and Lakshman is injured. He's unconscious, and I'm taking this up for him. Bharat understood. He said, I want to be in the war, but I cannot leave this place because I've given this word to Ram that I'll be protecting Ayodhya. So you go. And in fact, it is also said, Bharat Maharaj put Hanuman and the Himalaya on his arrow. And he shot that arrow towards Lanka. And Hanumanji went on his arrow. But the point was, the news came to Urmila. The Lakshmanji is unconscious. She said, nothing will happen to Lakshman. I am chaste. I'm always thinking of him, always protecting him with my austerities. Nothing can happen to Lakshmanji. So many pastimes are intertwined and so much. Ramayana is full of sacrifice and love and devotion and caring. And actually, later when Lakshmanji killed Indrajit, Ravan was like, it's impossible to kill Indrajit. Not because of strength or anything, because he had a boon that he can only be killed by a person who hasn't slept for 14 years and who hasn't eaten anything for 14 years. So all these boons, they were kept intact by Ram and Lakshman, and still all these Rakshasas were killed. So that is why there was this deal of 14 years of exile for Ram. Because this mother Saraswati, she knows everything, and she was sat on the tongue of Kaikeyi when Kaikeyi asked for this boon of 14 years. So, of course, when Ram, Sita, Lakshman, they came to Panchvati, and they made the hut over there, and Shurpanakha came. Shurpanakha, her nose and ears and breasts were cut off by Lakshman, and she was disfigured. She went to Ravan. She didn't tell Ravan the whole thing. She said, I saw this beautiful lady, Sita, and I thought to bring Sita for you. But Ram and Lakshman did this to me. So you go and kidnap Sita. This will kill Ram. He will die. He is in so much of love with Sita. He will die in agony, in separation. So this is what Ravan did. Ravan went to Marich, that you take the form of this golden deer and play around that their hut. And Marich told him, you want to pick a fight with Ram? Ram hasn't done anything to you yet. Why you want to pick a fight with Ram? You have so many beautiful ladies in your palace. Why you want Sita? Because of this Ram, I'm so scared. I'm sitting here for so many years. Now you want me to go and entice Ram? Ravan said, yes, go, otherwise I'll kill you. Mari said, it's better to die in the hands of Ram than your hands, so I'll go. So Marich went, and Ravan, we know, he kidnapped Sita. And when he put Sita on Pushpak Viman, bringing her back to Lanka, Jatayu saw this. And Jatayu, although he was old, he was no match with the strength of Ravan. But he still told Ravan, I'm not going to let you take Sita from here as long as I'm alive. So fight went on between Ravan and Jatayu. So Jatayu attacked him with his beaks, with his claws, with his feathers, huge feathers he had, and he injured Ravan. But then Ravan, obviously he's Ravan, and he took out his khadak, Chandrahas khadak, and he cut off the feathers of Jatayu. Jatayu fell down bleeding. And Ravan just laughed and it brought Sita to Lanka. So when Ram was looking for Sita and he came to the place where Jatayu was bleeding and he was saying Ram, Ram, and he was crying and I could not protect Sita, Ram came and Ram asked what happened and Jatayu told him the whole story that Ravan has kidnapped Sita. So, but Ram was so thankful, so grateful to Jatayu that with his own hands he did the last rites for Jatayu. Jatayu was not a Brahman or from some good big family, he was an eagle. But Ram, because he was so grateful for the service Jatayu had performed. Jatayu was not even successful in his service to save Sita. But the intent, his intention was to serve Sita, serve Ram by trying to save Sita. See, this is what the beauty of devotional service. Even if we are not successful, successful is our only success is the Lord should be pleased by our service, by our intention of serving Him. That's all. So Jatayu was completely successful in that way. Lord Ram himself, with his hands, he performed the last rites of Jatayu. So later on, we know how Lord Ram met Hanuman and Sugriv and he killed Bali. And before that, he met Shabri, went to the ashram of Shabri. So I'm just fast forwarding. Then he came, and then Hanuman went looking for Sita in Lanka. He came back, gave the news, yes, Sita is in Ashok Vatika in Lanka. And they all came to the ocean. 3 days, Ram sat down, asking for the path. Ocean didn't listen, but then Ram went up, stood up, and he put the arrow on his bow, and Ocean came shivering with fear. Oh, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And then in 5 days only, they made a bridge on the ocean, which was 800 miles long and 80 miles wide, with no columns, no piers, nothing. Just a floating bridge. Nobody had even heard of this. See, this is why Lord Ram, he is the Supreme Lord himself. Only he can perform this superhuman pastime. So before they had this bridge, Ravan just kicked Vibhishan out of his, because Vibhishan was telling them, you just give Sita back, otherwise everybody will be killed. The whole dynasty will be vanished, vanquished. Ravan said, okay, you talk about Ram, you go to the camp of Ram. So Vibhishan, with 2 of his associates, he came flying out of Lanka and he came on the ocean side. In the air only, he paid obeisances to Ram. And now everybody Ram was in his camp, in his tent. Vibhishan, Sugriv saw him, and there was a big meeting in Ram's tent that whether to let Vibhishan and his associates in or not. They are Rakshasas, they could be spies, they could be doing something that we don't know. How can we trust them? But Hanumanji said, no, I have heard, I've seen Vibhishan. He is a devotee of Ram. He should be let in. So Ram asked Vibhishan to come in, and Vibhishan just paid obeisances. And Ram welcomed him by saying, come, Lankesh. And everybody was surprised. He's not Lankesh, Ravan is Lankesh. This means Ram has made up his mind that Ravan will be killed and Vibhishan will be the next king of Lanka. So what did Vibhishan do? He just became devotee. He came and only he just paid obeisances to Ram. And Ram made him king of Lanka. That's devotional service. Ravan had to do so many things, kill so many people, and do so much of tapasya to become the king of Lanka. But Vibhishan, what did he do? He was a devotee. He paid respects. That's it. And then the war started, and so many soldiers of Ravan, so many generals were killed, and in the end, Ravan came out to fight final war with Ram. And one day the war went on, and Ram just injured him, cut off all his bows and arrows, and broke up his chariot. And Ravan went inside Lanka. And Ram said, "Okay, you come back tomorrow again. We'll fight tomorrow again. Maybe you're tired now. You're tired and injured, and I'm not going to pick up my weapon on somebody like you." So that night, Ravan went to Kailash, went to Shivji. And he said, "Shivji, hey, please, Shivji again." And Shivji was pleased. "Yes, Ravan, what do you want?" "Shivji, please protect me. You have given me word that you will protect me. You will save me. I have this big war going on with Ram. Please come fight on my behalf and save me." Shivji said, "Well, yes, I did give you a boon that I'll protect you and save you, but I never said that I'll fight against Ram to protect you." Parvati ji was surprised. What is going on? Then Ravan was like, "What do you mean?" He was completely confused. "You're going to save me, but not going to fight on my behalf?" Shivji said, "Yes. So there's only one way to save you. Tomorrow, before the war starts, go take Sita back to Ram and take surrender at the lotus feet of Ram, and then you will be saved. Otherwise, nobody can save you. I cannot save you from Ram." And Ravan was like, again, the same advice. Everybody's telling me the same. How can I get Sita back? And this and that. So next day, the final battle that we call Dashara Vijayadashmi started. So Ram and Ravan, they were fighting. Vibhishan was on the side of Ram. Ram was shooting arrows. He was cutting off the heads of Ravan. And every time he would cut off one head, and the new head would come on, because it was Brahmaji's benediction to Ravan. And Vibhishan was standing next to Ram, and he said, "My dear Lord, you know his life force is not in his heads. Why are you wasting time in cutting off his heads? He's not going to die like this." Ram said, "I know he's not going to die like this. But what the problem is, I cannot shoot arrow at his heart." Why? Because in his heart, he's thinking of Sita. And the thought of Sita is not different from Sita being in his heart. And in Sita's heart, I'm there. And in my heart, all my devotees are there. So if I shoot arrow at his heart right now, it will hurt all my devotees. I cannot shoot. So he kept on cutting off heads of Ravan. And when Ravan was losing all his heads, he just became disturbed. What is happening? Ram was just cutting off my heads. And as soon as he became disturbed, he stopped thinking of Sita, and Sita went out of his heart. And that time Ram picked up this Aditya Hriday arrow. It was given to him, and he shot at Ravan's heart, and it just killed him. So Ravan actually represents lust. All his heads, different heads, they had different kind of knowledge. One head was expert in Vedas, one head was expert in morality, ruling, how to rule, this, that. All the heads had different kind of knowledge, but the main head that was full of lust. So Ram, when he was cutting off all these heads, but because of lust, all the heads were going back up, and this tendency of lust is in our heart also. Lust means to enjoy senses instead of serving the Lord. What did Ram do? He just shot arrows at his heart to kill him finally. So what from this killing of Ravan, we can only pray to Ram, and by this hearing this pastime also, it removes a lust from our heart, and we can pray to Lord Ram that you please shoot this Ravan of lust from our heart, in our heart, and kill him. Just kill him. Please shoot your arrows. So when we are chanting the holy names, we should beg to Lord. Because Ram is also there in the Mahamantra, Krishna is there, Radharani is there. Just beg Ram, please go and shoot this lust from my heart. And let me just serve Radha and Krishna or Sita Ram. And see, Hanumanji is glorified since time immemorial. Why? He is a devotee of the perfectional stage to serve Sita and Ram, to bring them together. Ravan was also powerful, but he got killed because he separated Sita and Ram. So all we need to do, learn from these pastimes, learn from these stories, how to bring Sita and Ram together, how to bring Lakshmi and Narayan together, how to worship them together, serve them together. And then, just like Hanumanji is glorified, if we need glorification, that can also come. But if we don't need, all we need is devotional service. That's all. And we can live happily, peacefully, ever after. So on this day of Ramanavami, we should pray to Lord Ram. Please give me, to whatever extent, your qualities, the qualities of Hanumanji, the service, the mood of Hanumanji, and service mode of all other devotees in Ram Leela, Bharat, Lakshman, Shatrugna, other Urmila, Shutkirti, Mandavi, Sugriv, wonderful, wonderful qualities they have. Shamri, Kevat, Guha, Maharaj Guha. I mean, this incidents of Kevat, that can take a whole day to go over. It's beautiful, beautiful incident. But this is all what there's devotional service. So we can beg, we can pray to Lord Ram to, on this Ramanavami, please appear in my heart and at least kill this lust, for Ravan to be lust in my heart, so that I can serve you properly. So I guess I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, so we'll stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Hare Krishna.